right, so a couple weeks ago, we mounted up the 37-inch Nitto trail grapplers on my Teraflex Nomad wheels, and I got a ton of questions about these new wheels, especially around their quick deflation system. So I wanted to address some of the questions that you had in a quick Wednesday upload. So if you do have questions, leave them down in the comments below. I read pretty much everything you guys leave down there and try to respond to all of it. Today, I wanted to show you guys how the quick deflation system works. It also has a inflation side to it, which is basically just a anodized aluminum cover over top of your standard Schrader valve. So the air up times are not much different than you would see on a regular Schrader valve on a tire. But the deflation system obviously is quite different, which makes airing down much easier and much quicker. And I'm gonna show you just how that system works today and show you just how fast it actually is. So how does the system work? Basically, we have a air down valve. In the middle of this, we have a hex key that we can set the air pressure that we want this to stop airing down at. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull off our air upside or our Schrader valve, and we're gonna stick our tire pressure gauge on to that side. Now in here is a 3/16 hex key, which you can adjust the tire pressure that you want this valve to stop at. Now I've done it all the way up by turning it clockwise, and that will set it to the highest PSI that this will stop at. So then what we're gonna do is with the air gauge connected to the left side, the air up side, we will turn this counterclockwise and pull that hex key screw out to the desired temperature that we want, desired air pressure that we want this to stop deflating at. So you can see just how fast this is going to go down from about 29 PSI here. And it's going to slow down quite a bit. So you can see it slowed down right about 18, 17 PSI of air pressure, and it will trickle off as it hits its threshold. Now, if we take this hex key and we open this up, we can lower where this is gonna trickle off. So I'm gonna set this to about 12 PSI. And so that's going to stabilize right at about 12 PSI there. Now we do have to tighten these back up because if you do drive on them, the tire pressure will fluctuate and it will continue to let out more air as the tire goes over bumps and whatnot. So dialed in at about 12 PSI. Now let's fill this back up and see just how fast that goes from 29 PSI to 12 PSI. All right, 29 PSI. So you can imagine how this works. I just walk up to each tire, give it a couple rotations. And by the time you go around all four wheels, you should barely hear any air coming out. It does make a little bit of noise, but you can see that it's barely dropping at all. And we're gonna give that a little turn. Now you don't have to reef on this and apply a lot of pressure to turn it. It is more like a ball or check valve. So I'm not sure the internals, but it doesn't get stiffer as you tighten it. You just tighten it until it hits a hard lock. So it's very easy. You don't have to worry about how tight you have to get it. It just stops when it's done, and that's it. So I'm pretty sure I could air down 4 tires substantially faster than using a core removal tool. I think the only thing that would be as fast as this is if you maybe drilled out your wheels and put monster air down valves in there, but that is super convenient and super quick, and we're gonna air up like normal with our onboard air. So a lot of questions that I had around these is, well, these look kind of exposed and I might knock one of these off on the trail. I'm sure that is possible. Obviously we do have a spare tire, but good news is that Teraflex does sell these individually and they are not very expensive. I think they were like 15 bucks a piece. But I got one of each, so I have an additional air down, air up, and just they make a blank plug. So if you want to plug off one of these holes, this is the cheapest one substantially. So you can throw some of these in your spare parts bin that you're carrying around in your Jeep for a little bit of extra insurance. I am going to be installing an ARB twin pump compressor in the back of the JL, and if you want to see how that fares against a pair of Viair 480C pumps, which I have in the JK, I'm going to do an air up speed test between the two, because I think that's about in the same price range is 2 Viair 480C pumps versus the ARB dual pump or twin compressor. So if you want to see that video, make sure you are subscribed. But pretty cool. I can't wait to try these out on the trail, and anything that gets me from the street to the trail faster is a thumbs up in my book. And with that said, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, and we'll see you Saturday in the next upload.